Hi, I'm Ryan, I'm 22 years old, and this is my cancer story. Before I tell you my story, I just want to point out, I'm making this video because I feel like when you type into YouTube anything about cancer or youth cancer or anything like that, there's not much really out there, especially for young males. So that's why I'm making this video. This is my story. So about early June or so, I was getting headaches, walking into walls, just feeling really tired, just worn out all the time. I knew something was wrong, but I just, blew off as a cold or a flu or something like that. But then, I went to buy a new pair of shoes, bought them, couldn't even do my laces up, just wasn't in a good way. Went to try out those shoes at a local walking trail, got maybe 20 metres from the car, couldn't see, couldn't stand up, couldn't walk, just, yeah, wasn't good at all. That's when I went to the doctor first. Went to the doctor, he said it's most likely glandular fever. He didn't do any tests, nothing about it, just, from my symptoms he assumed glandular fever. Gave me drugs, gave me the 2-week medical certificate, and yeah, sent me on my way. I didn't feel any better in the next couple of weeks. I was getting worse, was walking into more walls, was more tired, just was getting worse by the day. On day 13 of my 2-week medical certificate, I was going to get the home doctor to come around because I just hadn't improved at all. So I went to the toilet, was about to have a bath, walked into the bathroom, I passed out, broke the soap holder off the wall because I fell into the bath. I had a seizure, lasted around 5 odd minutes. My girlfriend called the ambulance. They came. Don't really remember much after that. I just do remember the older ambulance driver, he knew something was wrong because I was just yellow, the colour of me, just everything I was saying, I was mixing up my words, it was just, yeah, something was obviously wrong. The young guy didn't think there was so much wrong with me, he just thought I might have passed out or something, hit my head on the way down, which my girlfriend said I didn't hit my head at all. They took my observations, everything was really high, on my blood pressure and all that. So they took me to the hospital. I went to the hospital, went in the emergency room. The first doctor I seen, she was really good. She asked me a bunch of questions. I was kind of coherent at that stage, but I still, wasn't good. It was pretty obvious something was wrong with me. So I got a CT scan. When I came back from that CT scan, the doctor she was so different at that stage. She was fidgety, she wasn't herself. At that stage, I really knew something was wrong. A bunch of surgeons walked in, and that's when they notified me I had a mass on my brain. Honestly, I didn't really know what a mass was, I just knew it wasn't good news. The surgeon asked me if my mother would be able to come down anytime soon. I said she was 4 hours away, she wouldn't be able to drive because of the stage she was in, obviously the news she just received, so she had to take the bus the next day. He thought that wasn't quick enough, so that's when I really got the idea, this isn't good. I spent the night in ICU that night. My girlfriend spent the night there as well, in the chair next to me. I was hooked up to all these machines. I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know the severity of the situation, to be honest. All the nurses in there were really nice to me. I just thought it was normal protocol, but yeah, obviously being in ICU means I probably wasn't in a good state. This was on August 7th. On August 8th, the next day, my mum arrived, my brother came, who does live in the same city as me, and yeah, that's when it started sinking how serious it was. The surgeon notified me on that day I was going in for surgery on August the 10th, so 3 days after my seizure I was having surgery. I caught up with a bunch of family in those next couple of days. My father, he was flying over from America because he lives in America, I live in Australia. So yeah, everyone was coming over, everyone was trying to say hi to me, and I sort of knew in the back of my head, this could be the last time I see all my family, which was not a great feeling. On August 10th, the day of my surgery, I said my last goodbyes to my family. I didn't really know. I was trying to put on a brave face, but yeah, I didn't really know if I was going to make it. Tried to act strong, you can only be strong for so long. I got pretty upset before I went into surgery. I got wheeled into surgery with my girlfriend by my side. There was a nice older lady nurse who was really good. She put me at ease. She just was really nice to me. She did her job. She made me be a lot calm before I went to surgery, which is all I could ask for, because I was really stressing at that stage. I got wheeled into surgery. There was probably 15 to 20 doctors standing around the bed. And they said, "How are you?" I said, "Not too bad." I didn't really know how to act at that stage. And that's the last thing I remember. The surgery took 7 hours. They removed the tumour, which was in my cerebellum, which is at the back of your head. The tumour was about 4 centimetres by 4 centimetres, which for the cerebellum where it was, is a really big tumour. I got wheeled out of surgery 7 hours after. First person I remember seeing is my girlfriend, and apparently I was asking for Red Rooster, which is a type of fast food chicken you can get here. My birthday was the next day, and we always get Red Rooster because it's my favourite type of fast food, so maybe it has something to do with that. I remember then I seen my brother, I seen my mother. I don't honestly really remember much after surgery. I spent the night after surgery with a nurse sitting at the end of my bed all night long. There was another patient next to me who I thought was on his phone all night long, which he clearly wasn't. I was just off the planet at that stage. I just didn't know what was going on. Apparently I said to my girlfriend, "Can you please take the goggles off my head?" Which was actually just tape wrapped around my head, but it felt like goggles to me at the time. I wanted the oxygen to be taken out of my nose, which she obviously couldn't do. The next couple of days after surgery, a bit of a blur. My birthday was the day after surgery on August the 11th. I don't really remember much from that at all. A few days after surgery, after I had the tumour tested, that's when the surgeons came back to let me know it was cancer. That came as a bit of a shock because I just turned 22. You don't think things like that are going to happen to you at 22 years old. The type of cancer I have is called medulloblastoma. It's a fast-growing, high-grade tumour. It's relatively rare, accounting for less than 2% of all primary brain tumours. It's less common in adults, but it does occur. The Central Brain Tumour Registry of the United States reports about 57 to 60% of adults are alive at 5 years after diagnosis, and 44% are alive at 10 years after diagnosis. They're all pretty scary facts. Originally I was on a head drain, which is a drain where a tube comes out of your head, getting brain fluid. They were taking 20 mils an hour at that stage when they decided to clamp the drain, so the drain wasn't taking any more fluid. That was also when I was reduced to 4 hourly checkups from the nurses through the night, rather than 1 hourly. But luckily, one of the nurses I had at that stage, she was checking on me constantly anyway. In the middle of the night, the nurses came in, and that's when they discovered my pillow was absolutely saturated with blood, my bed was covered in blood. I bled out of my wound when they had clamped the drain. Luckily she came in as often as she did, because if I bled out a lot of blood at once, that really wouldn't have been good at all. The next day, the doctors came in the morning, and that's when they notified me that they're going to change the head drain to a lumbar drain, which is a drain that runs up your back. So it gets spine fluid, but the spine fluid and the brain fluid are the same thing. So now I was hooked on a lumbar drain. The problem with these drains was, I was bedridden because of it. Because if you lift up, or you move, or do anything, too much fluid comes out at once, so they can't get the required 20 mil, 50 mil, whatever the measurement was at the time. So I had to sit very still, and I was bedridden. So I was limited to just sponge baths, which really wasn't great. I had to go to the toilet in a bottle. It was just a horrible way to spend time in hospital. I convinced my doctors luckily one day to clamp the drain so I could go and get some fresh air, which was the greatest thing, honestly, ever. I'd been in a hospital at that stage for probably 13 odd days with nothing. No fresh air, no sunlight, no nothing. Because where my room was in the hospital, there just was no windows. So I didn't get to see the outside world for probably almost 2 weeks, which was horrible. So I was pretty miserable for the next couple of weeks.
Tell a joke.
No. Spend 17 days in a bed. That's funny.
They eventually challenged the lumbar drain in my back, but this time they went from 20 mil to 15 mil to 10 mil to 5 mil and eventually 1 mil before they clamped it again. They clamped it again and I didn't bleed out luckily this time. After the lumbar drain had been removed, I was allowed to walk around again. I was allowed to go to the toilet, I was allowed to shower like a normal person. I was still in a hospital, but at least I could actually move myself around, which was great. A few more days passed, the doctors were checking on me every day, and I was getting stronger, I was getting better. The physio was helping me.
I'm just a little bit uncovered my right hand, but I've always been that way. That's just sort of me.
I was finally okayed to leave the hospital. I passed all the physical tests. I spent maybe 2 more days in hospital just to be safe. And then after that, I got released, thankfully. And that was the greatest moment ever. I got released from hospital on day 23 of being there. I went home for 2 weeks, tried to make the most of it. I visited family, went to the beach, went to the city, just tried to enjoy life as much as possible. I got a puppy as well. I had to get a face mask made, so a mould of your face. So when you go into radiation therapy, they clamp you to a bed and your head's aligned perfectly so you can't move. And to begin with, they were also doing my spine, so I had to sit in a straight line and couldn't move for about half an hour. I did radiation therapy Monday to Friday, every day, for 6 weeks straight. Chemotherapy was once a week. The main side effects I got were drowsiness, vomiting, weakness, but luckily the vomiting was under control from the medication I was taking. Going to the hospital every day is very tiring. You don't want to be there every day. It's just horrible. I finished my 6 weeks of radiation and my 6 weeks of chemo. Now I'm on a 1-month break, and I go into the hospital once a month for 6 months to have a different chemo drug. Hopefully this all works and everything goes well and all the follow-up MRIs are good and I stay cancer free. The main thing I've learned through all this is there's lots of other people out there going through the same thing as you. And just enjoy life to the fullest. If you're healthy, go out and do things. Go be healthy. Don't sit at home. Because I've made that mistake in the past of just doing nothing. Having good health is the #1 most important thing. I'll make an update at the end of all this and let you know how I'm going at that stage. Thanks for watching.